Hi guys, it's Mercy, or Wrath, whichever one you know me by. I am making this tutorial video on line art, how I do line art, and some tips and tricks on line art that I've found that work in my program. I'm not really sure how well these work in other programs, such as or Photoshop, but these are how I do my line art in Clip Studio. I've seen a couple other videos that are a little bit similar to this, and I actually found some techniques that I have through another YouTube video. I don't remember who it was by. It was a really long time ago, so I can't link you or anything, but I'll show you some of the tips I've learned through YouTube and just through using the program. Now I want to thank my supporters on Patreon for making this video possible. They're really the reason I post any videos on YouTube. I wish I could post more often. I just don't have time to record and don't really have content to record very often. But today we're working on a line art of a character from BlazBlue, the video game, and I think there's also an anime of it. I haven't seen it. I know her from the fighting video game. She is like a cat character. This was actually voted for on my Patreon. This is a line art that will be free to color for anybody that supports me over there. So if you're interested in supporting me over there, I will leave a link at the end of the video to my Patreon, and you can look that over. Don't feel pressured in supporting me or whatever, but if you'd like to, it's there. So I'm going to go over some of the stuff that I do for line art. So right now I have this folder that's got a bunch of different layers in it. This folder actually has all of my sketch layers for this. You know, it's all different parts of the image. And I have that in one layer so that I can change the opacity all at once, which is really useful for the sketch. So we're going to leave it at about there. That's fine. So I have this other layer. This layer doesn't, this folder doesn't have anything in it. And we're going to put in our first layer. So there are two ways I do line art. One of the older ways I do line art is I just select my pen. I usually use a G pen because I just like the way that the G pen comes out. But you can also use a mapping pen. I like the G pen personally, and that's just like the way I tend to do things. You can do whatever you feel comfortable with. But I'm going to show you how I use Rasta layers first. So Rasta layers are just drawing pixels on pixels, is the way to know it. And then I'm going to pick my size. I usually pick my size a little big when I do line art, and my tablet's being a jerk. Sorry, hold on one second. Let's see if that works. I'd have to... There we go. I like to pick a larger size because I don't push very hard on my tablet, so I end up with smaller lines anyway. So my sizes tend to be a lot bigger than the actual line art that I'm working with. And I'm going to do a black. Okay. When I use Rasta layers, I usually do two. So the first layer is layer 7 here, over here. This top layer will be the layer I'm working on. So I could erase it, I may not like it, and then when I like whatever I've done, I will transfer it to layer 6. This way, if I'm doing something like the braids, and I don't want to worry about, oh no, I drew over something and now I've got to erase the braid because I don't like it, I don't have to worry about erasing all of the lines I already did that I do like. So that's why I use 2 layers, and I'll kind of show you a little bit of that. I don't do this technique as often anymore because it's not as fast as the other technique I found that works really well for me. So, but I am going to show you a little bit of my inking with this. So I'm just going to zoom in here. Okay. And like I said, I'm just using the mapping pen, which is one of the base pens that comes with the program. And I don't think it's got anything really changed other than the brush size and maybe the stabilization. I used to use a really high stabilization. Now I usually only use a very low stabilization just because I've just gotten used to the brush. So we're gonna do, oh, see, my tablet is just being so weird lately. I think it might be the plug is being annoying. Sorry about that, guys. Let's try that and see if that works a little better. Okay. Sorry. There we go. Okay. And like I was saying, this is not my favorite way to do line art because it's not as fast. But I just kind of go over my sketch. And don't feel bad if you're doing line art. You don't have to, this is your own art. You don't have to perfectly follow your sketch. If you did something in your sketch, you're like, you know, I really don't like that. Change it. It's not something you can't change because it's on your sketch. If you need to resketch it and do like a little edit over your other sketches, don't feel bad going back to your sketch layer and fixing things. It will save you a lot of like hassle in the future. So I'm just gonna get my eraser. Just gonna erase some of these lines. I'm not a huge fan of doing line art. I know a lot of people really like it. I don't like actually doing line art because it takes me so much time because I am a slow liner. Most of my drawing process is lining because I'm very picky about it, and I'm not happy with it very often. So okay, so here's some of that, and I'm not going to do a whole lot of this because I'm not actually going to line this with this kind of line art because I don't like this one. So as an example for what I was saying before, let's just say I was like, you know, I like that. That line looks good. We'll transfer that to our bottom layer. So now it's here, there, and there's nothing on this layer. So I'm going to draw the ears to show you what I mean by being able to erase. So we're going to draw the ears, and we're going to start at the top and just all the way down, like that. This way you get a more smooth line. You know, you're not doing the whole million lines like this. You're getting a smooth line. Okay. And then because because the main line we did before is on a different layer, I can erase this and not worry about accidentally erasing my main line. So that's why I do 2 layers. You have to make sure you keep track of them, otherwise you might still end up erasing something you don't want to, but it's a good technique. Now, this is not the way I use, this isn't the way I do my line art anymore, so we're going to delete these. Just going to select both of them. This selects other layers. This is good for moving all the layers around at the same time. This is good for clearing all the layers. Good thing to know that you can select multiple layers. So I'm just going to delete those 2 layers because I don't need them. Okay. And we're going to add a vector layer. Now, vector layers are different. And the closest thing I've ever been told about vector layers is it's like drawing with points versus pixels. And it's really hard to explain like exactly what it does. Keep in mind this one will slightly correct your drawing. Your lines might not be exactly how you drew them because it is drawing with points and not pixels. I don't really notice much of a difference. I did when I first started drawing, but I don't anymore because I use them so often now. So we're going to use this one. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more. I like to be super close when I do my line art. So the cool things about vector lines is you can correct them. They're very easy to correct. They're very easy to erase. They have a lot of really cool things that you can do to them. And that's one of the reasons I like them for line art. So we're going to go in and I'm going to do a couple lines and show you what I mean. So here's a good one. Okay, so I like this line, but it doesn't meet where I want it to, which is here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here, and you should have a little correct line. Well, it probably isn't correct line. It's probably control point, which I haven't messed too much with all of these, but some of these I have messed with. So I'm going to show you the ones I know how to use, and then you can fiddle with the other ones if you'd like to. So this is pinch vector line. This is only available on a vector layer. You can't use these on regular raster layers because it doesn't do anything. So pinch vector line. So as you can see, I've selected it and it says pinch vector line, fix end, pinch level, effect range, add control point, and connect line. Now I don't use these 2. Like I said, I don't know all of the tricks to this program. I'm sure that there are more that I don't know. And if you find them out and you want to let me know about them, please let me know in the description. I'm always not the description, sorry, in the comments. I'm always up to learning new things about my program. So we're going to pinch the end. Now there's a couple different options here. Fix both ends means that the ends of your line, the 2 ends of your line where it starts and where it ends, are fixed and will not move. This fixes one end, and this frees both ends. So I'll show you what that looks like. So first of all, we're going to show you what fixing both ends means. This means if I take this line, it will not move from the two ends here and here. So if I need to go, you know, this is not quite, there you go, that's where I want it. Then I can't. I can move it, I can adjust the angle of things, I can make it arch more, I can make it arch less. This is really good for adjusting some things of line art, and it ends up really helping when you've got like the arch, you've got too much of an arch on a leg, you've got not enough arch on a leg, but your line is the way you want it other than that. It's super easy, just pick it and move it. Now, one thing to be cautious with fixing any of the pinch vector lines, if you mess with it too much, it will like the line will get really weird. Like it'll start to like have like this sort of weird like look to it. And it doesn't always happen, but I have noticed it happens every once in a while, and it really sucks when it does. So just keep in mind that if you fix it too much, sometimes you'll really mess with your line and it'll get like this weird hard angle in the middle of your line. I have only had that happen a couple times, but most of the time I don't notice that. Most of the time I don't use it to fix the curve of the line. The other one, it fixes a single end. So this will fix I think this fixes the end farthest from where you're pinching. So one of the ends is free, which means like over here, where I want it to connect here, but I don't want it to move from here, I can pick it and I can move it like that. And then I can use the other one, fix both lines, and go like that. And I fix my line. This will stretch lines, so you can stretch them out a little bit. So it's super useful for a lot of different situations. This frees both lines. Frees both ends, sorry. This frees both ends of a line, which means you can just like pick it up and move it. So you can just pick the whole entire line up and just shift it around and move it if you need to move it entirely. I don't use that one as often, but I know that it's there if I need it. So that's really cool. The other really cool things about vector lines is a vector line, because it's drawn with lines and not pixels, it won't be pixely if you have to make it bigger. So obviously if you zoom in, you'll see pixels. But if I have to make this line bigger, so let's say I was like, you know, this whole picture is too small. I can select the picture and I make it bigger and I won't lose any quality of line. So I'll just show you what that looks like right now. Whoops, I messed that up. No, come back. Look at the things. This is why I can't have nice things. That's fine. Okay, so if I need to fix the line, I'm going to use my lasso because I like using the lasso tool. And I'm just going to make it bigger, so no matter how much bigger I make it, you won't see pixelization of the lines. See how the lines still look crisp and clean? So that's really useful if you've got to resize a whole image and you've done your line art. You know, you can just resize the image and you won't have to worry about your lines getting funny because you had to resize the image to make it bigger or smaller. Alright. I realized I had my whole image flipped, which is a surprise, to be honest. Okay. So I've shown you the pinching, which is the one I use most. The other thing you have is the correct line width. These are the two that I use, is the pinch and the correct line width. If you have a line that's too thick, you can thin the line by just clicking on it. So this will thin this line, and I can make it super duper duper thin where it almost disappears. Or I can make it thicker if I need it to be thicker in certain places. So if I go, you know, this needs to be thinner. Yeah, because it matches the lines better. But I really want to thicken this corner right here. You can do that. This is really useful. I don't use the thicken as much as I use the thin if I've pushed too hard a couple times and my lines are just a little too thick. I'll use it a little bit. I try not to use it a whole lot because I just don't like it as much. And most of the time I end up just doing line art without using all of these techniques anyway and redrawing the same line 12 times when I didn't need to. But one of my favorite things about vector layers is the eraser. So if we go to the eraser, we now have extra stuff on our eraser that wasn't there before, which is the vector eraser here. Now the vector eraser does some really cool things, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to pick another layer really fast and show you what they do. So let's do a couple things. So we're going to do, oh my goodness, I don't know what it is with my tablet that wants to do this. It's super irritating. Sorry guys. It's only when I don't draw with it for very long. So this is all on the same layer. Okay, so this is a couple things we can do with this thing. So first of all, we have a couple different options that you have to select one of these to get your eraser to do what you want. This one here, erase touching part. This is more like a regular eraser. I don't use this one as often because it does kind of wig out because it's a vector. So the lines won't be, like the lines will recorrect themselves to where their point is at. So it's hard to get it to erase the way you want it. It kind of corrects it a little. So that's one way. That's if I need to be super specific, I will use that eraser, but I don't usually use that eraser. The next one is the one I usually use, which is erase up to intersection. This is fantastic for if you draw over an area where you don't need your line, like I did with the ear in the other example where I drew all the way down into the face. This will erase all the way until the line meets something else. So, like that. Done. It erases all the way up to a line. So if you're like, you know, I really need this to, I need to erase this like down here. So here's a great example of something we've used. Down here in this corner, I got these little things. I just erase both of them. Boom, like that. It's really, really useful. That is the way I use my eraser all the time. So you have erase up to intersection. And then you have the other one that I don't use as often, but I have used every once in a while. And it is a overall line. So this will erase the whole line regardless of what it crosses over. And that's why I have the squiggly here. So I got this big squiggly, and I really just don't like this. So I'm just going to go like this. If it decides to not be a dick. Oh, we're on the wrong one. That's why. And it will erase the entire line all the way through to its completion. This is really good if you accidentally make a line through something that you're just like, you know what? I don't like any of that, and just have to erase the whole thing. You don't have to worry about crossing into other things. You don't have to worry about hitting it a billion times because you're going all the way down the big long line. You just touch it and it'll erase the whole thing. That is, in my opinion, that is the reason to use vector layers, is for the eraser. Because it makes your life so much easier. I don't have to do more than one layer, I just go with it. So, we are going to do some line art, and I'm going to work on this now that we're sitting here. I don't know if I will speed this video up so that you don't have to watch as much. We'll see. I don't really know if anybody would want to watch a live thing of me doing line art because it takes literally forever. So I'll probably end up speeding up this video. But if I can think of any other things I need to bring up, I will make sure it's not sped up. But we'll see. So. Okay, so there we go. I've finished all of the line art for that, and that's ready to post. So if you'd like to see more videos like this, comment and let me know what you'd like to see. And thank you all for watching.